Hello everyone, welcome back to Vlogmas, day 15 today. So we're kicking things off straight away today with the advent calendars. So yeah, looking for number 15. It's just there. Looks like it's a star. Yes, it is a star. And on to the best off one. Bottom right today. Ah yes, dairy milk. Right, let's do the story. Hello everybody, so it's time for the story. So just before we do start the story, I just want to mention that unfortunately I accidentally ripped my phone case last night, which means that I can't use it to stand my phone up anymore. So I've sort of got my phone leaning against it. So yeah, if it does drop at any point during this story reading, I do apologise. It's just yeah, unfortunately, it's kind of it's holding itself up at the moment, but it's yeah, hopefully it won't drop. Let's just hope it stays where it is. Hopefully this works. But yeah, we've got to crack on anyway. So yes, tonight's story is going to be Little Miss Stubborn and the Unexpected Holiday. Right. On this particular day, Little Miss Stubborn had invited Little Miss Brainy and Mr. Greedy round for a hot chocolate. But Little Miss Brainy and Little Miss Stubborn couldn't agree on anything. Not on how hot the hot chocolate should be, nor how chocolatey the hot chocolate should be, or even on what cold hot chocolate should be called. All I know is that this hot chocolate is extremely good, said Mr. Greedy between mouthfuls. Perhaps we should change the subject. Does anybody know how big Knitten Island is? But of course, once again, Little Miss Brainy and Little Miss Stubborn couldn't agree. Little Miss Stubborn was sure that it was 1 metre long and 2 metres wide. Little Miss Brainy was sure that it was 2 metres long and 1 metre wide. If you won't believe me, then you'll have to go there yourself to check, said Little Miss Brainy crossly. So what do you think Little Miss Stubborn did next? She went there to check, of course. Little Miss Stubborn isn't called Stubborn for nothing. Are we at Little Island? Asked Little Miss Stubborn as the plane landed. No, Little Miss Stubborn, replied the pilot. The island you're looking for is over there. You'll have to get to it by boat. Little Miss Stubborn found a sailor and asked him if he would take her to the island, but he refused because a storm was on its way. That didn't stop Little Miss Stubborn, of course. There won't be a storm, she said. I'd like to buy your boat. But the sailor was right. There was a storm, a big storm. The waves grew larger and larger. They crashed against the sides of Little Miss Stubborn's small boat until finally one particularly large wave tipped the boat over completely and Little Miss Stubborn was thrown into the sea. Little Miss Stubborn swam with all her might until eventually, exhausted, she collapsed onto the sand of Little Island. She fell into a deep sleep, but woke up to a surprise. You'll never guess what it was. Little Miss Tiny, said Little Miss Stubborn. What a surprise! What are you doing here? I come to Little Island every year for a little holiday, replied Little Miss Tiny. Are you on holiday as well? But Little Miss Stubborn didn't have time to chat. How tall are you? She asked rather rudely. 5 centimetres exactly, replied Little Miss Tiny, surprised. Little Miss Stubborn had lost her tape measure in the storm, but that wasn't going to stop her. She had the perfect way to measure the island. 5 plus 5, that's 10. Plus 5 is 15. and so on and so on, until little Miss Tiny felt quite dizzy. Just as I thought, Little Island is exactly 1 metre long by 2 metres wide, said Little Miss Stubborn triumphantly, and without explaining her strange behaviour to Little Miss Tiny, she called out to a passing boat and hurried home, leaving Little Miss Tiny to enjoy her little holiday in peace. 1 metre long by 2 metres wide, said Little Miss Stubborn much later that night was sleeping Little Miss Brainy, who had forgotten all about this agreement. A few days later, Little Miss Brainy invited Little Miss Stubborn round for tea. Mr. Greedy was also invited, and he had already finished all the biscuits by the time the others sat down at the table. "There's a question written here on the biscuit tin," he said, licking the last crumbs from his fingers. "How far is it from the earth to the moon?" 384,400 kilometres, said Little Miss Brainy, without a second thought. "How can you be so sure?" asked Little Miss Stubborn. "It's written in all the books," replied Little Miss Brainy. "But," she added mischievously, "if you don't believe me, do check for yourself." Little Miss Stubborn took a deep breath. "Very well, then, I will," she said stubbornly, and off she went to call on her friend, Little Miss Tiny. The end. It's a good book. Right, okay, guys, so that is all for today. Just to let you all know, the assignment is finished now. I've submitted it in time for tomorrow's deadline. So, yeah, we're all good on that. So, no more work now. I have officially finished for Christmas, which is good. So, yes. Anyway, tomorrow I'm thinking I might go for a run. So, I might possibly bring you guys along so that I can get a bit of footage. You can see where we go running. Bits like that. So yes, and then possibly Wednesday. I've not decided yet, but possibly Wednesday we might be doing the tree festival. So yes, and the final 173A. So yeah, that'll be exciting. So yes, but anyway, that's all for today, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.